actually at the age of 15 have very, very different sets of skills. And that's a clear indication also that the quality of schooling is very different across countries. And also, I mean, skills are acquired through formal learning inside of schools, but skills are also acquired through informal learning outside of schools. And that may also be very different across countries. And for that reason, we need to have a better understanding of how actual skills, rather than the investment measure as a quantity-based measure such as years of schooling, are rewarded on modern labor markets, and how because of that incentives differ across countries to invest into skills. Research has shown that just basic skills such as numeracy or literacy are very important for labor market success. Also ICT skills become more and more important. But I think what's truly important for future generations is that they learn how to learn. So the working life becomes longer and longer. And at the same time we see rapid technological change. So the set of skills, the specific skills that you learn during your first phase of education, probably this set won't be sufficient anymore in your job towards the end of your working life. So we need to equip students not only with specific skills that make them productive immediately on the labor market, but we need to equip them also with the abilities and the skills required for lifelong learning. It seems to make sense more sense to invest into education at early stages, so at early childhood education rather than at later stages, just because skills beget skills. Another example would be that there is a pretty consistent finding that it does make sense to equip schools with more autonomy, but at the same time introduce more accountability. So that means that schools should get more autonomy when it comes to designing the teaching process or when it comes to hiring and firing teachers, but at the same time you should hold schools accountable for what they do and what they achieve. So having a good teacher is a crucial determinant of your future educational success, but not all the teachers are good teachers. And if you look across countries, we rarely have a system in which good teachers get rewarded enough and bad teachers get not rewarded or punished. So that's something where you could improve things. So good evidence-based educational policy means that when you try to implement a reform, at the same time you should think about what is the goal of this reform and define what makes this reform a success, what makes this reform a failure, and how can we evaluate it. Equipping the labor force with more skills, making them more educated, has a causal effect on economic growth. It still remains true that at the individual level, having a good education is the best insurance against unemployment. So I should say that any sort of reform that you implement now that improves the skills and productivity of the labor force will not only foster long-term growth, but will also ensure that when the next global crisis hits Spain, that not so many jobs get lost.